In this podcast, I'm going to use a for within a for loop. That is nested for loops, to how to imprecate repetition loops. For that, we are going to imagine a game with 5 players and 4 dice. Each player will take 4 dice, throw them, and then we'll do the sum of the dice. And then the second one will get the dice, throw them, the sum, etc. And the player that has the maximum value for the sum of the dice will win the game. So let me show you how we will have some inputs there. So I will use the split input-output mechanism. And for the initial input, I will write all the inputs for the problem. First, the number of players, 5. Then space. Then the number of dice, 4. Then on each line, I will put the values of the dice for the first throw. For example, first die value 1, then second dice value 4, then 2, then 3. Then on the third line, I will put the values for the dice for the second throw. Let's imagine 3, 2, 6, 4, and then 2, 4, 1, 4, and then 2, 2, 1, 4, and then 3, 6, 1, 2. All right. So now I'm going to write the program that reads the input and that will print for each throw the sum of the dice, the value of the dice. All right, so I'll include a standard input-output to have the printf and the scanf, int main void. Now here I need many variables. First one is how many players I have, that is how many throws I will have. So that would be an integer, number of throws or number of players, that could work also. Let's say 0 for the moment, and we will read from the input. Then we need an integer for the number of dice, and then the dice value. Each time we will read the value of one dice. I will put this in a dice value. Then I need the throw sum to calculate the sum of the throw, of one throw. Then, and that's important, I need 2 for loops. So usually what you would do is use a I for the first loop and use a J for the second loop. But here, instead of I and J, I will use something more explicit, meaning that the first loop will read the input for the throws. So throw number 0, that would be the first one. Throw number 1, second one. Throw number 2, third one. Throw number 3, fourth. And throw number 4. This is number the fifth one. Ooh. So that's quite difficult because we usually in C we start with 0, right? So that would be variable throw that will have the number of the current throw. And the second loop within a throw will read the values of the dice. So the first dice, second dice, third dice, etc. So that would be dice. Let's call it dice. Now, I use a scanf to read first the number of throws, that is the number of players, and the number of dice. So it will be a scanf with %d, %d, and I'll put the values that are read in a number of throws and a number of dice. All right. Then I have to write the first loop, to loop for each throw. So let's write exactly that. For throw, and we start with throw 0, and then how many throws do we have? Well, we have number of throws, and then to go to the next throw, that would be throw plus plus. All right, so I have my first loop that will loop for each throw here. Now I need a second loop to loop within a throw for each dice. And that is exactly what I will write here for each dice. So dice, we start with dice 0. How many dice do we have? Well, number of dice. How do we get to the next dice? Dice plus plus. And that's the second 4. So within, you see that it is imbricated within the first loop here, the first 4. So that's why we have a little bit more space to be more clear. What do we have to do within this 4? Well, we have to read the value of the dice. So we'll use a scanf. Scanf with %d. And I will put the value that is read in dice value. Right? What do I have to do next? Well, I have to update the throw sum, because now the throw sum is 0. So I have to add to the throw sum, well, the value of the dice. So I will first get the old throw sum and add the dice value. Right? What do I have to do again? Once we've finished the readings from the first throw, so that is just after this for loop, well, I can print the throw sum like this. Printf throw %d, that will be the throw number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sum equals %d. And then \n to have a new line. So the first %d will be, well, here you can see that I count the number, the throw 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be the variable throw. The second %d is the throw sum here for this particular throw. So that is throw sum, all right? But something very important here. Before I go back to repeat this loop here, I have to put the sum back to 0. Otherwise, I will add the dice value of the second throw to the sum of the first throw. So that's why here I have to do throw sum gets the value 0 to initialize back the sum to 0 and to calculate again the sum for the next throw, because here we are at the end of one throw. And then, so to go back to the next throw, well, we have to initialize back the throw sum to 0. I think I'm okay. I need the return 0 and I can try the program. Let's try to compile. Yeah, I have no errors. That's great. So let's try to execute line by line. So I create the variables, number of throws, number of dice, dice value, throw sum, throw, and dice. And then I read from the input here 5 and 4. That is the number of throws and the number of dice. All right, and then we enter the first loop. That is throw 0. All right, so we enter this and we enter the second 4 within the first 4 for the dice 0. So what happens here? Well, I am at the beginning of the first throw for the first dice, and I will read the value. That is 1. So I read the value 1. Now, I have to update the throw sum. Of course, at the beginning, the throw sum is equal to 0. So I will add the dice value that I've just read, 1. So the sum now is 1. And now I loop again for the second dice. That is why I have to do dice plus plus to pass to the second dice. Dice plus plus, so the dice is now 1. So the second dice of the first throw. All right, and we have to scanf the value, that is to read the value. The value is 4, and then we update the throw sum. Throw sum is equal to 1, and we will add 4. So that makes 5, and then we go to the next dice, which is this one with value 2. We read the value, we add it to the sum. So 5 plus 2 equals 7. Then we go to the next dice, we read the value 3, we add it to the sum, so the sum now is 10, and because we are at the end of the throw, we will go out of the for loop to the printf, and that will print throw 0, the sum equals 10. So now I have to go back to the first for, the first repetition loop, but before that I have to put the sum back to 0, because look here, the throw sum has the value 10. So if I go back to the beginning of the repetition and I add 10 with the dice value of the second throw, I will have wrong numbers for the sum. So that's why I do the throw sum equals 0. I go to the next throw, that is number 1, the second one. And again, I do the same. I will add the values of the dice. So the first value is 3. The throw, as you can see here, is 0 because I put it back to 0 before. And I add 3 for the first dice. So the sum is 3. We go to the next dice. We read the value here, 2. We add it to the sum. So that is 2 plus 3 equals 5. Then the next dice, we read the value, 6. And we add it to the sum, 6 plus 5, 11. Next dice, with the value, 4. 4 plus 11, 15. We are at the end of the second throw, so we go back to the printf out of this for loop here. And the printf will print throw 1, sum equals 15. We go back to 0 for the throw sum, and so forth. So for the next throw, here, the dice is 2, so the sum is 2. The next dice is 4, sum 6. Then 1, sum 7. Then 4, sum 11. So we go back to the printf, throw 2, sum equals 11. And then next one, the value of the first dice is 2, the sum is 2. And then 2 again, sum is 4. Then 1, sum is 5. Then 4, sum is 9. And then we go to the printf. Throw 3, sum equals 9. And then again, 3, the sum is 3. And then 6, sum is 9. And then 1, sum is 10. And then 2, sum is 12. And then we print the sum. Throw 4, sum equals 12. And then we go to the last throw. All right, no, that was the last throw, sorry, because it's throw 0 up to throw 4, which is the fifth one. All right, so that you can see in the output that the throw 1 has the maximum number, so that would be the first player, the player number 1, so that's the second player to win the game. So now I invite you to change this game a little bit. How can you do that? Well, you have to try with different inputs. So let's say if you modify the 5 with a 6, so that's 6 players or 6 throw, you would have to add a new line with the throw and the values. And if you modify here the number of dice, of course, 5 or 6 or 7 or 3, then you would have for each line to modify to have the exact number. So I would like you to try this, modify the input here with a different example, and try to execute line by line to see if you understood everything that has happened in this program here. Your turn.